Listen, maybe I'm too pragmatic, and maybe like I don't get inflamed like I used to. The Eagles won a game yesterday, right? And I know people don't want to hear, well, a win's a win. But the fact of the matter is a win is a win. And in the NFL, you're not going to play brilliantly every week. Look at the Kansas City Chiefs. They sneak by every freaking week. And our people in Kansas City, you're not winning by enough? This was a spot in the schedule where they're playing a bad team. Now, if you know anything about human beings, if you know you're the better team, subconsciously you're going to go into a game like that, whether it's home or not, thinking, we can beat this team. And that usually lowers your performance standard. I know people don't want to hear it, but if you look all around the NFL, it happens. Was this a lethargic team? Well, sure it was. They're playing the Carolina Panthers. Now, I get it. And I know Bill and Ray are probably going to have a completely different spin about this. Yeah, you can look at the quarterback. He doesn't play like an MVP every week. Like we have enough information now to know that sometimes Jalen Hurts is not going to be Josh Allen. That he's just going to not light you up. He's not going to dazzle you. He's not going to give you an MVP performance every week. It happens in the NFL. Now, I know there are a lot of Hurts protectors. There are a ton of Hurts detractors. It's like, they won the game. They won the game. And like, I'm not a person who looks only at that. And I'm not trying to ignore the fact that they could have played better. I will say one thing, though. When you've got a weapon like A.J. Brown, when you've got weapons like Devontae Smith, you need to make it a priority to get them the football. And I want to sit there now I want to rip the people that came at me on social media because I suggested that, and somehow I used the word diva in my tweet about A.J. Brown. There was a story last week that suggested A.J. Brown wasn't that happy with not getting the ball. We've seen it in the past that he's unhappy when he doesn't get the ball. Yesterday, he slammed his helmet on the sidelines. That's part of being a great receiver. Every receiver who's a great receiver in the NFL is a diva. Whether you want to look at that as a slant, as a criticism, whatever. The point of the matter is, if you have a great receiver, they're not going to be happy if they don't get the ball. So if you're a coaching staff, you make it a priority to get him the ball. You don't get him no targets in the first quarter. You don't get him one target in the entire first half. There is a play that they run with A.J. Brown that's unstoppable. It's the slant. And they don't go to it. Why? I have no freaking idea. So if I'm going to be upset about it, it's not because they didn't win by 100, that they didn't cover, because I didn't think they were going to cover anyway. I thought it would be a sluggish game. It's the game plan and the mindset of not getting your star receiver involved early so he feels better about himself. And that's not a criticism of A.J. Brown, you idiots who came at me on social media. Good God. All right. That's my opening statement. Bill?
Good morning, Mike. Good morning,
Good morning.
Greg. All right, first of all, you're right. We have to keep things in perspective here. They won the football game. They're a good football team. They're 11-2. They won 9 games in a row. It was inevitable that they would have a bad game along the way, especially against a lowly opponent like the Carolina Panthers. And even though it was a bad game, the defense only let up 16 points. The Eagles clinched a playoff spot. They're going to win the NFC East. But with all that being said, and again, keep it in perspective, there are still some things that we have to be objective about, and that is the lack of scoring in the first quarter. It continues to be a problem. They're the worst team in the NFL. They've only scored 17 points in the first quarter of 13 games. That's an issue. The kicking has become an issue. Jake Elliott is now 0 for 5 from 50-plus. Coming into the season, he was making those 70% of the time. The NFL rate right now from 50-plus is over 70%. Jake Elliott is at 0%. But my biggest concern, and this isn't hate on Jalen Hurts, is the passing game. We spoke last week about how if you look at the last 15 Super Bowl winners, 14 of them had a top 15 passing offense. This Eagles passing offense now sits at 31st in the NFL. It is a problem, and it's not only being created by the media. You're now hearing it from the team that the passing offense is a problem. 31st in the NFL, and I don't want to hear that it's because they're number one in rushing, because if you look at the other four teams who are top 5 in rushing, the Ravens have a top 5 passing offense. The Lions have a top 4 passing offense. The Packers are top 11. The Washington Commanders are 18th. Your Philadelphia Eagles are 31st. This is an issue. I know they keep winning football games, but I am concerned that the passing offense will come back to haunt them in the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't think it will. I really don't. The Eagles rely on their strength. The strength is the running attack. I get it that the pass, and they need to do more to get A.J. Brown involved. I don't understand it, how you could have a receiver like that and not get him involved. I totally agree with that. But I'm not going to panic that they're 31st, because what they do is not pass. They run the football, and they kind of pass off of that. That's what their identity is. And that identity, by the way, has made them win 9 straight games. You're just picking things to be upset about at this point. Oh, my God, they don't pass well. They won the freaking game. Now, had they lost the game and the lack of pass attack hurt them, then we have a conversation. Until that happens, we can't overreact to it. That's all I'm saying.
I'm with you on the overreaction. They're winning football games, but I don't think that it's an overreaction to be concerned about the passing game, Mike. And you're not wrong that their identity is running the football. They sit at 32 in pass attempts because they run the ball a lot. The Ravens are 27th in pass attempts, but yet they have a top 5 passing offense. The Packers are 31st in pass attempts.
How many losses do the Ravens have?
I understand that, but we're not. Listen, when you have Super Bowl aspirations, which the Eagles do, I don't think it's an overreaction to be critical of areas that they struggle. If it's simply, hey, win the NFC East and then we'll see what happens in the playoffs, then I would agree with this line of thinking. But we have Super Bowl aspirations here, and I'm concerned that if you go up against a team in the playoffs where your passing game has to either keep pace or has to win you that football game, right now this passing game is a major issue.
I guess what? I think it's much ado about nothing. All right? As long as they keep winning, now they have a big test. They're a 4.5-point favorite against the Steelers next week. I mean, that's a game I think they can lose. They're 4.5-point favorites. So all this extrapolation of what they don't do doesn't manifest itself as far as what people are interpreting how good they are. And to me, it's just like, it's simple. It, to me, is a simple fix. Prioritize in the passing game your strength. And your strength is A.J. Brown. So that says, Hurts can be helped out by his freaking coaching staff, his offensive coordinator, and his overseer. If you're not getting the ball to A.J. Brown a lot in the first quarter, then frickin' get it to him in the second quarter. I don't understand how you could just be permissive to giving him one target.
But who do you put the blame on there?
It's the blame goes on Nick Sirianni. Nick Sirianni, if he sees that he's not getting the ball to A.J. Brown, should call over his offensive coordinator and say, yo, let's get A.J. the frickin' rock.
See, now you're assuming that the play calls weren't to go to A.J. See, I think Jalen Hurts wasn't comfortable yesterday. There were times that A.J. Brown was open on both touchdown passes.
Oh, well, then
A.J. Brown was the first read.
Coach the guy. Jalen, look, this is get the ball to him. Coach him.
See, I can't imagine that Nick Sirianni, Kellen Moore, the passing game coordinator, are saying, yeah, let's not get A.J. Brown involved. I think that
prioritize it. What did Andy
Reid calling plays.
What did Andy Reid do with Terrell Owens?
They are calling plays that are supposed to go to A.J. Brown. You saw it in the game where A.J. Brown's open and Jalen just doesn't pull the trigger. There was something off.
Coach the quarterback to do it during the game. If the Eagles seem powerless when things happen, when they don't score in the first quarter, when they're not getting the ball to their best player, they seem powerless to adjust. That's the problem.
See, here's the problem I have. We're making arguments that they should get Saquon involved early, and now they should get A.J. Brown involved
They don't
early.
have to get Saquon involved early. Saquon will take care of Saquon eventually. You know that. But the other guy, if you don't get him the ball, sometimes is going to sulk on you. You can't afford to have that.
Do we really think that this coaching staff is not trying to prioritize getting the ball to their weapons?
Sometimes, yes. Sometimes I think they're clueless on what is going on the field.
Mike, this past week you played the 24th ranked pass defense. Last week against the Ravens, you played the 31st ranked pass defense. They averaged 97.5 passing yards. That can't just be the coaching. There's got to be an issue.
Listen, I look at it, I go, these coaches are stunads. Like, don't they see the same thing I see? You got a weapon that you're not employing. What the hell sense does that make? Even if you have to get him like a quick, like one of those patterns where he steps off the line and you give him the ball. Like, you got to get his hands on the football. All right. Here's how you get it. It's 610-632-0975. People coming at me because I dared use the word frickin' diva in a tweet. All great receivers are divas. That's what the sign of the times is. So get him the football so you undiva him. Mike Missanelli Show right here on 97.5 The Fanatic.